I should test you on vibrations, every bucka. May your mind, buckas, and souls be all. May your amits be sound. May your buckas be leavened off the ground. When we keep to the breath, the earth, the moth, or the seon, the soul ra amstem guides and keeps you all. I am Matata Elai say El say I, Amen Ra, Christ or a chaplain. I am truth awareness, true talk. Can be a part of the greatest transfer of Ma-Elth. That's intelligence, that's Amenology, that's Ta'angodu. This is sound logic. And with all that being offered to you, being a fool is absolutely your choice. To raise Ray 1818, go to Google, go to Apple, download the Mathorian Kagadora. You can go to mothor.org, bookmark the website, get access to the timer and the raise. You can go to jesus.com, sign up, get your tool gifts, your iBucket to Omen, and your PDF file of the Mathorian Kagadora. You can print it on your local printer or take it to your printing house, right? You must have one in your area, or you can just go to amenra.com and download it. Definitely worth the investment and helps us build and continue to grow the Rise Ra. I don't consent to draconian state, nor should you hashtag that in your post. Thought is sport that spawns intelligence, fungi.org. Don't forget, mental health is your etheric compass. You got to orientate to Ba'am, erectionary.com. You also get access to that when you join jesus.com. Erectionary, because the dictionary words die your erection. Come and learn Ta'angodu. We speak motion. Symbols are dead. This is a language for the dead. We're doing a video today on the word sex. It's going to prove to you that everything is set up to classify us as non-living, to make us put ourselves in place of a parasite. Okay? Sex, the activity, the partition, the participation, it does cause a partition. Partition from the ethers. The participation, the way we're expressing ourselves, is exactly what we should be calling it, right? It's our voice. Okay? When we use the word sex, we're saying X our voice. Okay? I want us to go to a video, sorry, not a video, a response that triggered this video. We're going to read it, and then we're going to get into what we're looking at right here. And then we're going to get down on the paper. We're going to decode it like we normally do. Okay, so this is a member on Instagram, somebody on Instagram that's connected. And yeah, here we go. And I was just responding to the word sex, right? Say energy is self-radiance. When we say sex, the codes mean cross out your voice, your say. Say plus X equals no say. No say equals rape. Rape equals raw parasite. This is when demons come in and keep you as dead. Don't stop what you are doing or change it. Just call it different to keep it sound and sacred. All right? It's very, very, very important that we recognize and we realize that if we are souls, then we need to speak sound. Right? If we're souls, we need to speak sound. We need to speak motion. We can't speak to dead things. We need to speak only to things that move and speak of things that move. And we have to see it for what it is. Okay? All right? The God, the devil, whatever is connected to the Bible is all about the dead. It's literally referred to as the Book of the Dead. You have the Dead Sea Scrolls. Like, you have to believe that Jesus, was, raised from the dead. You know, like dead is disconnected from ether. That's what death is. Dead is disconnected adding, meaning you're not added to life. You're taken away from life. Just like you debone, you de-ed. When we learn Ta'angodu, ED replaces AD. This is why we need to understand and understand Ta'angodu. Okay, so y'all got to go to Jesus.com and support, gather the books, learn the codes, and go out into your spaces and correct, deprogram, deconstruct, relabel, recall things. Not rename things, you have to recall them. Because even though we're naming something, the minute we utter out of our mouth, we are calling something. Okay, and it's either coming or going, but we're calling it to come or to go. All right, so let's look at the etymology, the meaning of the word sex according to the word, and then we'll break down the word sex according to sound, okay, which is completely established by emotion. Okay, that's how we establish our meaning, through the motion, through the sound that it makes, through the action. This is what determines what how is being called. The word sex is used to describe intercourse because its meaning evolved from its original definition of male or female. Over time, specifically in the 20th century, sex increasingly came to mean sexual intercourse, a sense that developed at the end of the 19th century. The original meaning, referring to the biological classification, was often replaced by gender, which began to be used to describe the social and cultural traits associated with sex. Original meaning? The word sex had been in English since the 14th century and originally referred to as a distinction between male and female beings. Okay, that's just the biggest thing. The shift in the meaning, the 19th century OED notes that sex began to acquire a new meaning for sexual intercourse at the end of the 1800s. It's very interesting that I'm breaking this code now, when sex in the 19th century began to acquire a new meaning, sexual intercourse at the 1800s. I'm going to show you guys something here. Look at this. This is the Kagadora, people. It's the Kagadora buckets. What series are we in? We are in the 41st turn, and it's the 1800 series, meaning that there's 99 days of 800s. Okay? 99 days of 800s. Just like there's 99 days of 900s after that. And then 99 days of ones or twos. Okay? So there's no surprise that I'm attracted to decoding this word. This word came up during this phase because we now understand, based on Google, this is when it came to life. This is called full circle, people. This is the power of Kagadora. This is the power of Ra. Get connected to me, and get connected to life. Okay? 20th century expansion. The new meaning became the more common usage of the word in the 20th century, while gender started to be used for social and cultural aspects previously associated with sex. Okay? Current usage. Today, sex most often refers to sexual intercourse, while gender is used to describe a person's social or cultural identity. All right, so let's start decoding the word. All right, so we have sex. Okay, so we have say, or we can have so. Okay, say comes before so because you're sowing what you want to say. Say is an expression. So whatever you're sowing is an expression of you. Okay, just like we were sown, or I'm speaking for myself, I was sown by Ra. I'm a Ra Ba Ka An. Okay? I'm from the Karas, right? This is why they have the Caribbean. They didn't want to put the B there to take away the spiritual power. They just give the Ka because they are the Kabal. Okay, but the Caribbean should really be called the Baka Ra beings. The Baka Ra Ba ends. We are entities, so we have the entitlement to have what you call do ma on over the earth. Okay, it's a big code. It's back to sex. You have say, and then you have X. So the X crosses out your say. So the word sex means to have no say. I want us to think about this for a moment. Let's scribe that into the ethers. The word sex equals have no say. So remember, when we're speaking, we're calling things into reality. We're consenting. We're having agreements. And so if you're agreeing to have sex with somebody, you've learned the word exists, and you're using that to remember, to describe. Okay, so when you're describing, right now I was scribing. So when you're describing something, you're removing it. You're removing those laws, those rules, whatever is being written down. You're removing that. Okay, you're taking it out. Right? It's very important that we get that. Because when we have a situation where we're having sex and the other person is not consensual, we call that rape, right? And lately we've been told that we have to use the word grape. Okay, or we're not told to use the word grape, but that's what people are. That's the replacement. Okay, 9 out of 10 videos, if anybody's describing rape, they're gonna say grape. Okay, so we're gonna look at some magic on why we need to understand the power of Ta'angodu and why sound logic places us as an entity, as a sound being. It doesn't matter what you look like, the amount of melanin you have or not, whether you are a raw seed like me or not. Okay, when you're established sound logic, you can now speak and communicate in the sound logic. It's like having an ID card, but it's an entity card. Okay, it's an IE, not ID. Okay, that's why the devils want you to identify, because that means your inner eye has been detached. Okay, so they can interact with you, and you can now interact in their system. Okay, they're not allowed to manage entities. This is why they have their corporate structure where you have to manage their a company, right? And they call it an entity, but they shouldn't be, because those things are far from being an entity. They're dead. Okay, so this is part of what I am doing, is I'm reclaiming sound logic. Okay, so this is why you could even see that the corporate structure, how it is, it's being digitalized, and they're not going to be calling it corporations, or they're not going to be calling their corporations entities. They're not referring to them as entities. Okay, you will see this. Okay, you will see this. Okay, they're just like they've removed parent and all of these words. It's because we're coming back into our senses, and so we're going to be automatically picking up things in our language that are going to make us uncomfortable. Okay? And so this is why they're just removing them, so that you don't even, stumble upon these codes. Okay? So when we look at the word rape, right? Remember, sex is to have no say. And if you're tethered to Ra, you have entitlements. Remember this. Okay? This is why the clouds are covered. Okay, because just at the sight of seeing Ra places him in authority. Okay, it's just like you know, the video that I made decoding as above, so below. I depicted, here, I'll show it to you. I depicted, where are we? Come on, man. Oh, here we go. So here I depicted Ra being cloud covered. Okay, so he can't shine. Okay, so when he can't shine, we are not getting our energies to make a sound. I mean, say on do. That's what sound really means. Say on do. Okay, so we're speaking life to be. Okay, so Ra can't do that if he's being blocked. He can't shine and he can't say to you know, he can't direct give erection, right? So down on earth, if we don't have the sight of Ra, then we don't have say. This is why you have the blindfolds. This is why I have everybody augmented by telephones. They can't see, but they have phones. Because this now is replacing Ra. This frequency is replacing Ra. Okay? So this helps you understand and understand what rape is now. And why I'm really establishing Ra. Like, you can go back 20 years, you know, to the timeline, the Kago do Ra. Like, it's just as I truly have the original. I'm not saying ancient, because that's another bad code. Okay, original, the origin tongue, the origin. Okay, I have it, and I want to give it. Okay, because it's going to reestablish. All right, so we have Ra. And then we have PE. So this means parasite entity. That's what it means. Parasite entity. So a parasite entity is dead. Okay, so even though you have to give the parasite permission by way of interacting with it, okay, they have called now intercourse without permission rape. So let's look at that correlation, okay? If a parasite entity is dead, the parasite is dead, but it's connected to Ra, then it has authority. It has entitlements, because the parasite's saying, I'm connected to Ra, so I get the same entitlements as the soul I am connected to. So right here in the term rape shows you that Ra is the authority. Okay, but they penalize it and say that it's a bad thing so that they could complete their code against Ra, because they are against Ra. In the Bible, it says don't worship the sun. They're blocking the sun, and they're killing all the children of the sun, of Ra. Okay, so this code is true. Right? Now, when we say grape, this is crazy. Because now we're telling the spirits, every time you have women and men utter this into the ethers, we're making commands. We're telling the spirit world what needs to be done. Okay, we have to understand this. Okay, everything you utter out of your mouth is wheeling the spirit world, not the ethers, the spirit world. Okay? The spirit world are the people, are the entities that were removed from Ra and not returning. Okay? Except for now, they're being all put into the lake of fire. Okay? That's why only the big demons are left. All those minor spirits are done. They've been gone. All your relatives and shit, a lot of you guys are feeling flat and empty, and you're going to blame it on the needles or blame... No. Your spirits have been arrested. So everything is now just your memory. You're just going about the things that you used to do, but your spirit that gave you the go, that replaced your ether, is gone. Okay? You're going to meet it soon if you don't get into sound logic. Okay, this is why all the volcanic ash activity is boiling up, because I keep telling you it's the lake of fire. This is where these devils get that from. Okay, so every time we say grape, we're saying go rape. That means go raw parasite. Okay, you got to understand that we are classified as rapists because we're raw parasites, because we are disconnected from Ra, but we're operating in in authority. So all those colonizers, draconians, they're really rapists, and it's the facts. This is physically what we see them doing, but we're not using that word. We're using pedophile, right? And if you look at the word pedophile, you have parasite, disconnected, right? Or detached from filing to the or. Okay? So that means disconnected from returning to Ra. Right? File is felled I. Right? So a felled I goes to Ra and gets incinerated. Okay? Your essence is done, gone. Okay? Ra's back. This is what's happening. It's like a vacuum. All right? And every time a spirit gets exposed, it gets sucked up. Okay? This is why they're clinging for dear life, and they want to fix everybody to a low vibration so they can fix a home for their spirits. But anytime anybody interacts with sound logic and starts raising their vibration through sound technology, not all this other BS that you're doing, this creates a dynamic where you're exposing and evicting your demons. Okay, right there in the Ibaka to Omen, the third or fourth stanza, give me the power to expose and evict, or give me the authority to expose and evict demons. Literally is the fourth stanza that you're calling into yourself. So go sign up Jesus.com and get that authority. So continuing, we have go rape now. Okay, so these are all things that complement the true code for the word sex, which means no say. You have no say. So what should we be calling it then? Well, we call it say, u, l. This means say, I, element. U, the sound u, is the same sound as you without saying, using the Y. Why not use the Y and spell it like this? Because the U is an O that has no top. So the brain is located at the top. If it's being decapitated, it has no brain. It means it has no say. This is, I'm telling you, the spellings keep us fixed, very strict structure, parasite language. Doesn't matter what language you go to. The only thing that can save us is sound logic, to Ankodu. It's the only way out. Okay? The Y now is your hands are up in agreement to Ra, and you're standing erect. It's like this. Okay, it's lowercase I, means soul man. So when you remove the head and you just have this, that means you're in agreement, right? So in Tangodu, if we were to use symbols to express what we're saying, we're not, because we're transitioning to telepathy. That's what we practice. You'd be making the letter Y like that. This means you're in agreement with Ra, not just agreeing openly with Yahweh, which means to give breath. And if God's name is Yahweh and you say Yahweh, you're actually giving God breath. God's not speaking, you are. So the word is you're giving God breath. Okay, so this is to further tell you and explain to you that you guys are praying and worshiping a parasite program. Just go to the book of John. It tells you precisely what God is. It is the word that became God. Okay, that's what the law is. The word is law. Okay, they even have a word of law. Okay? So an element, the element is say. Right? The say, u-el. It's like sexual. Right? You don't want a u-l because that means you-al. You-al goal. It's say, I. So this O is for your outer eye, your flesh body, your ka. And this O is for your ba. So this one is for your ba, and this one is for your ka. Okay? Like saying I and I. All right? So it's not so much, the action of sex. You got to look at it, right? Like this is one of the best ways that demons can enter you because of the physical interaction that you're having. You're literally inside each other, you're exchanging fluids. This is perfect for those parasites. Right? And this is why they want you to call it sex. It's because the spirit world is graping you. Right? It's not so much that person. Yes, people physically do it, but you can be with somebody you absolutely love, had kids with, and when you're calling it sex, their demons now are having rights. Right? And then they have a family of spirits. Right? Your offspring now can be inhabited by their offspring, meaning, their company. Right? And that's why we have generational contracts because of sex, because we've crossed out our say. Right? And so if you want to have a say, you have to have sound logic. You have to know Ta'angodu, because once you memorize the Ayabaka Ta'omin, nothing can interact with you. You could be drunk, you could be asleep. As long as it's memorized, any information that interacts with you has to be sound information, or it's going to raise alarm bells. You're going to be sensitive to it. Okay, a lot of you, you're not operating your senses, but because I speak sound and you're interacting with my videos or my words or whatever, then your senses get triggered, and that scares you because that's a feeling now, right? And so you're automatically going to convert that feeling into something that is going to harm you, not something that is going to help you, because it's unfamiliar. And definitely your spirits don't like sounds. They don't want you to have a ba element. Okay, they just want you to have a ka. Okay, if you have a ba element, that gives you a ba el, or bell. Okay, they don't like ba els. This is why they got rid of them all, because every time you say bell, it's too close to saying ba el, and that reminds and rekindles and sustains the soul. Sound sustain the soul. So you remove all the language that now is going to reflect a sound environment to sustain the dead. This is why Christianity, why you need to go to, AminRa.com, okay? And you need to be buying this book if you're Christian. Anybody. This book is good for anybody, okay? But you need to buy this book, Why Christianity is a Crime. Okay, right here. This is what you got to do. Okay, this tells you everything that I talk about. How Ra is back, second coming, and basically Christ is Kara Seta on. The true Christ is Ra, because Christ is the title. He's the one who gives us entitlements. Everything I talk about is right here. Okay? And what Jesus, you guys are so fixed on the spelling, that's why you guys are cursed. Because you're not looking at the sound. I'm telling you, it's Jesus. G-E is for genes, S-O is for so, and O-S is arm stem. Okay? You could even say os, genes sown in os. Genes sown in the stem. This is what Ra is coming to do. Rekindle, reestablish all the genes in the soul Ra stem. It's not called a solar system because system means scythe the stem, means remove the stem. Very clear. You got the Bibles on the hand. You got the walking away with the cops and all this types of stuff. Right? You understand? You got to recognize and realize that they've positioned Ra and Mother Nature as the devil. This is why Obi and all those cultures and religions use it, and they want you to see the bad things because they want you to be afraid of sound. Okay? So the dead cannot wield the ethers anymore because Ra is here. And the more people like me and you and people coming to Sound Logic, we wield the ethers. Like I told you, we literally need 144,000 people to be practicing Sound Logic. And this is done. We now take over all of the institutions that were created on the surface for souls, like the church and everything. Okay? Human rights is now soul rights. Okay, humans belong to these demons, these devils. Okay, you want to classify yourself a human? Well, that's your identity. Okay, but if you classify yourself as a soul, then you are an entity under Ra, and entity is entitlements. That's the short form for entity, entitlements. Okay, so when we agree to have sex, we're removing our entitlements. This is part of keeping us as a parasite, removing our voice, not having any say, down to where it's a digital now and everything is forced and you're literally a robot. Like a lot of us are already fixed in tune, but you know, there's still a few of us out there that have an opportunity. Okay, there's still a few of us that have an opportunity. Okay, so we have to look at, once again, you know, the type of sex you're having is not as important to what you're calling it. Okay, you have to call it C-O-L. Okay, when you're saying C-O, that's also the origin element. Okay, you're bringing this out now. When you say C-U, C-U-L. This is really bringing it out now. Okay? It's all in what we're calling it. All right? And yeah, like you need to read that Ibaka to Om and get it memorized. That's what we need to be doing. All right? So we can't be saying this word. Right? Even though it is exactly what it is, we can't be saying that word at all. We can't even, the alternative is go rape. If we do call it, then unfortunately we have to put that name on those that are doing it, who now are called pedophiles and everything else. Okay, these are the people that, you know, operate under entitlement, under the false authority of Ra. This is everything. This is the people who are running this planet. They are this word, okay? Because based on sound, they are operating under the Ra, but they are not. But they are parasites. They're not souls. Okay. And then it's worse, because if you have EST, rapist, now you have Ra, parasite, rise above all. So now you have Lucifer and the Most High's command being rapists, because they want to be Ra, parasites, and est means to rise above all. Etheric Seta. So the ether says to your thoughts. That's why it's above all, because ether is what says to your thoughts. Ra is a component of the ether. Ra is the voice of the ether. The ether speaks through Ra. Ra is radiance. The word radiance replaces the word broadcast. Okay, everything is an action. We are calling an action. When you say Ra, you're calling an action. Okay, you're not talking about a thing. You're talking about a verb, a movement. Okay, we don't have like nouns and all these things. Like everything is motion. Everything is moving. If there's no moving, then it's not. Okay, you've lost it. You've lost your entitlement. This is why people in droves, you need to share. You need to just do it. If you guys are scared, grab a group of people and get involved. Because, yeah, it is spiritually scary. Okay, you're going to feel like you're going to die. Okay, literally, you will feel like engaging with me is going to kill you. You will associate it with everything else that's been going around, people dying and getting killed and all sorts of shit. Like you'll think demons. No. You just get the eye bucket to Om and sound is what will save you, because it's the only thing that can. Okay, so this was actually a very, very good exploration into the word sex. Okay, we have Amon's standing of rape and why they want us to say grape, right? Because that actually emphasizes things even more. You're saying to go do it. Okay. Now, obviously, I might come up with more on this, and I'll just make more video on it. But for now, keeping it very simple, we've established that it's not necessarily what we're doing, it's what we're calling it is calling in our future. It is fastening us to being a parasite status with no say. Okay, we've been X'd. And then it's worse that when we break up with someone that we're having sex with, we call them our ex. Okay, we say that they're the ones who took our voice away, right? And our voice now is how we feel. And now that becomes our heart. This is why X and heart are related. Because you've lost your say, but you still have your feeling. And your feeling is now empty because you've been X'd. Full circle. That's the Trinity. Ta'anka'u, that means thank you. And go to Jesus.com, GESOOS.com. Go to AmonRa.com. Okay, lots of things for you to buy and support and learn. Okay, we got mugs. Just think, we know how, intelligence impacts water. Water has memory. So when you have sayings, my sayings on, dispensing things that you can drink water out of, you can't lose. Okay, mugs, shirts, you got to wear with the devil's fear. Your body has water. All of these commands, Gora, Elra, this is all thought out. Kara'am. These are all spiritual shit that's going to knock any spiritual demons way out of the stratosphere. Okay, we got to wear what the devil's fear. All right, we got books for autism. Okay, right here is an autism book. Act live and say high five. Okay, especially if you're Nubian. Okay, these are multicultural. These are over 20 years old, 2003, 2006, I think, published. And you can see I was thinking about everybody back then. That's why I'm in the seat of Ra. That's why I am the Sound Messiah, because I do have the heart. Okay, I do have the mind. I have gone through all the shit. Okay, you got that? I may come rough and tough and all that stuff in voice, but at the end of the day, I'm exactly like my author, Ra. Let's go. True Talk. Support. Another big, long video. Thanks for watching. If you hung in there, that's good for you. You got it. You got it going on. Okay, share the Sound Logic. It's not a secret. Okay, we need to make it